You are being controlled right now, and the worst part, you don't even realize it. Every time someone ignores your message, your mood crashes. Every time a plan falls apart, your anxiety spikes. Every time someone disagrees with you, your entire day is ruined. And you think this is just how life is. But it's not. You have been trained to react this way. And 2,000 years ago, a group of philosophers figured out exactly how to break that training. The Stoics discovered something most people still don't understand today. The same rejection that destroys one person redirects another. The same criticism that crushes one person sharpens another. The same uncertainty that paralyzes one person fuels another. The difference is not the event, it's the interpretation. Epictetus put it bluntly, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them." But here is what nobody tells you. The real reason you feel exhausted all the time is not your job. It's not your relationships. It's not your schedule. It's the war you are fighting against things you were never meant to control. You are trying to manipulate how people see you. You are trying to force situations to go your way. You are trying to predict a future you cannot see. And the harder you fight, the more drained you become. Let me show you how deep this goes. You send a text. 3 hours pass. No reply. What happens inside you? Your brain starts manufacturing stories. They are annoyed with me. I said something wrong. They don't value me anymore. You check your phone 40 times. You reread your message looking for the mistake. You are now emotionally hostage to a notification badge. And here's the part that should terrify you. The other person might just be busy. They might be asleep. They might have dropped their phone in a toilet. But you have already burned through an entire afternoon of mental energy on a fiction you created. This is not an accident. This is how your mind has been conditioned. From childhood, you learned that external approval equals safety. Good grades meant you were smart. Praise meant you were worthy. Silence meant something was wrong with you. So your brain built a monitoring system. It scans constantly. It interprets every signal. And it assigns meaning where there is none. The Stoics called this prohairesis, your faculty of judgment. They understood that this faculty is the only thing you truly own. Everything else can be taken. Everything else is borrowed. But your interpretation, that is yours. And most people have handed the keys to strangers. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth. He had more reasons to stress than you will ever have. Yet he wrote this to himself: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't being poetic. He was being tactical. Because the moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, your mind becomes unbreakable. Think about what Marcus was actually dealing with: plague, war, betrayal, conspiracy, his own family plotting against him. He was not sitting in a meditation retreat with scented candles. He was on the battlefield, in the palace, in the middle of human chaos. And he still wrote those words. Not because he was special, because he practiced something most people refuse to practice: the discipline of focus. He trained his mind the way an athlete trains a muscle: repetition, resistance, recovery. Most people want the result without the reps. They want unshakable peace, but they won't do the daily work of catching their own thoughts. Most people think Stoicism means suppressing emotions. That is completely wrong. Stoics felt anger. They felt fear. They felt sadness. The difference is they didn't let those emotions make their decisions for them. They built a gap between feeling and reacting. And that gap is where your entire life changes. This gap is not a theory. It is a physical, neurological reality. Your amygdala fires in 12 milliseconds when it senses threat. 12 milliseconds? That is faster than conscious thought. Your body is already preparing to fight, flee, or freeze before your prefrontal cortex even knows what happened. The Stoics understood this 2 millennia before neuroscience confirmed it. They knew that reaction is biological, response is trained, and the training happens in that gap. The gap between stimulus and response, between trigger and action, between feeling and speaking. Think about the last time you said something you regretted. The last time you made a bad decision out of frustration. The last time you ruined a relationship because you reacted instead of responded. That single gap between emotion and action is where your future is decided every single time. I want you to picture something. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your heart rate jumps, your jaw tightens. You want to honk, yell, chase them down. That urge is real. It is valid. It is biology doing its job. But here is what the Stoic would do in that same moment. They would notice the urge. They would name it. This is anger. They would watch it rise. And they would let it pass without grabbing the steering wheel of their behavior. That is not suppression. That is sovereignty. You are not denying the storm. You are refusing to let it steer your ship. Seneca saw this even deeper. He said, "It is not what happens to us that causes suffering. It is how we mentally replay it, resist it, and blow it up in our heads." Pain is instant. Suffering is a choice you keep making. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome. He had everything, and he watched it all become meaningless when his mind turned against him. He wrote letters from exile describing how the mind tortures itself with imagination. You have a difficult conversation coming up. The conversation lasts 10 minutes, but you spend 3 days rehearsing disaster scenarios that never happen. You get rejected once. The rejection lasts a moment, but you replay it for months, adding details, deepening the wound, making it personal. The Stoics called this fantasia, the mental images we create, and they taught that you do not have to believe every image your mind produces. Most of them are fiction. Most of them are fear wearing a costume of prediction. Now look at your life today. Your attention is being hijacked every second. Social media tells you what to compare yourself to. Notifications tell you what to care about. Algorithms tell you what to think. And slowly, without you noticing, you have handed over your emotional stability to systems designed to keep you unstable. The Stoics warned about this exact trap. A mind ruled by externals is never at peace. The ancient Stoics had their own version of this. Rumors, gossip, public opinion, the crowd's approval. Marcus Aurelius called fame the clacking of tongues. He knew that chasing it was like drinking salt water. The more you get, the thirstier you become. Today, the crowd is digital. The clacking is infinite. The approval is measured in likes, shares, validation that disappears the moment you stop performing. And the cost is your attention span, your self-worth, your ability to sit alone with your own thoughts without reaching for a dopamine hit. The trap looks different. The mechanism is identical. Here is the reset. Every single time something happens, ask one question. Is this in my control or not? If it is, act on it. If it is not, let it go. That is it. That is the entire practice. And it sounds simple because it is. But simple is not easy. Because letting go feels like losing. Until you realize that holding on is what has been destroying you. Let me break this down into something you can use today. The Stoics divided the world into two categories: ta ephemine, the things in our control, and ta uk ephemine, the things not in our control. Your actions, your judgments, your intentions, these are yours. Other people's opinions, the past, the future, the weather, the economy, these were never yours. The problem is that you spend 80% of your mental energy on the second category. You worry about what they think. You obsess over what might happen. You rage about what already happened. And you neglect the only territory where you have actual power, your own mind, right now, in this moment. When you start doing this, you don't become cold. You don't become numb. You become unshakable. The chaos doesn't stop. You just stop being controlled by it. And that is the real power. I need you to hear this clearly. Unshakable does not mean unaffected. You will still feel. You will still hurt. You will still want things to go your way. The difference is that these feelings no longer dictate your behavior. You can be heartbroken and still show up to work. You can be furious and still choose silence. You can be terrified and still take the step. This is not about becoming a robot. This is about becoming the one who decides, not your fear, not your anger, not your past conditioning. You. So ask yourself this. If most of your stress comes from reacting to things outside your control, then who is actually running your life? Is it you, or is it your reactions? This is not a comfortable question. Most people avoid it because the answer requires change. If your reactions are running your life, then you have work to do. Not dramatic work, not overnight transformation, just the daily practice of catching yourself, of pausing, of asking that one question. Is this mine? And if it is not, releasing it again and again until it becomes who you are. The Stoics weren't trying to escape reality. They were trying to see it clearly without the distortion. And right now, most people are living inside that distortion and calling it normal. The distortion says that happiness comes from getting what you want. The Stoics knew this was a trap, because wanting is infinite. The more you feed it, the larger it grows. The distortion says that your worth is determined by others. The Stoics knew this was slavery, because other people are unpredictable, biased, and often wrong. The distortion says that safety comes from controlling the future. The Stoics knew this was impossible, because the future is not here yet, and the present is all you ever actually have. They were not pessimists, they were realists, and realism, practiced long enough, becomes a kind of freedom. If this made you stop and think, don't just scroll past it. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because I break down ancient wisdom and modern mindset like this every week. And here is your real test. Drop a comment right now, naming one thing you will stop trying to control starting today. That one decision could be the first step toward mastering your mind instead of being ruled by it. I will be reading every comment, and I will reply to the ones that show real commitment. Not because I need engagement, because I need to know who is actually doing the work. who is tired of being controlled, who is ready to take their mind back. This is not entertainment. This is a practice. And practices require practitioners, not spectators. So decide right now, are you watching this? Or are you using this? The difference is everything.